also indicate that everything is being done to deal with, and he uses the word to wipe out the perpetrators. Initial reports indicated that, suggested from the police that they suspected this could have been Allied Democratic Forces rebels, but I have seen what appears to be a claim by another group, the Islamic State, claiming that they're responsible for this attack. Let me start with the minister. What does this mean? Because Uganda is struggling to attract tourists to come back here after the COVID closure. Now, of all things, in a national park that has been largely peaceful in spite of its location, Queen Elizabeth National Park, you have an incident like this.
Yeah, first of all, I want to send my condolences to the family of the deceased, the couple and the Ugandan who died. It is very unfortunate that it happened, but to really continue assuring the international community that we are doing all that we can to ensure that we maintain the security of the country, including protection of tourists, protection of people who work in those centers, and also to say that these things happen in the way they happened, but after they have happened, what is important now is to make sure that there is an assurance that it does not reoccur, and that's what the security forces, as His Excellency the President said, are doing to ensure that those who did it are found and brought to justice. Now, it doesn't matter who claims who did it, what was done was bad, and it is very hurting to our promotion of tourism in the country. It is very hurting to the family that lost their dear ones, but we have all the assurance to Ugandans and to the international community that we are doing all we can. Our security forces are doing all we can to ensure that those who did it are brought to justice and should never happen again.
Okay, let me jump to Kamatebe briefly and go to Mwanga Chivombi as a sitting member of parliament. I wonder what your reading of this attack is in terms of how much it impacts the country.
Of course, as you said earlier, we are recovering from post-COVID, and there is every need to attract as many tourists as possible because they bring in the required resources that help our economy. And the tourist industry is one of those key sectors that bring in the inflow, especially of foreign currency and dollars. But then when you go to the broader issue of ADF, of insecurity, we've been at this forefront of fighting ADF, I think, for as long as I can remember. We've been promised the wipeout every now and then. At one time I was in Parliament, the then Minister of Security, our good friend, Mama Mbaba's Patrick, said there were only 3. And he said, he knows even where they are. So until then, we are still struggling.
The Minister for Security made a statement before Parliament today.
Of course, it was as brief as usual about this incident. But what is very critical is that I think we must now urge government to look for ways and means of talking to ADF and stopping this carnage. The wiping out, we've lived with it for so long. It is only fair. America the other day was talking to the Taliban in Afghanistan. So we've got now to invent another way. Of course,
who do you talk to in ADF? They don't have a clear leadership structure.
No,
they don't have a location,
a
clear location.
It's a duty of our intelligence service to do that job. You and me don't have that knowledge, but there are men and women who will pay dearly to go and dig out that detail and know who to talk to. It's horrible. It may look funny for me on the in the aftermath of this death, which we must condemn. But then for how long and how many will be? The other day they were in Kasese. They murdered people. We said ADF. So, and the president the other day was saying they have done good bombing in Congo. The other day I heard in my constituency in Tapara, they were arresting people. There was a bomb scare, again attributed to ADF in Chibibi. So it's something we are now living with home, abroad, in the park, and everywhere. So we must find a solution. I think gunpowder and men on boots on ground and planes have failed.
Okay.
And we must make this case to government, that it is also heroic to go that route.
We've seen, I didn't want to stay too long on this, but we've seen Islamic State claim responsibility for this.
That is something.
So if it's Islamic State, then how do you initiate talks with ADF?
No, what I'm saying, even the Islamic State must have a representation in the. I don't think this is the Islamic State of wherever they are that are doing this work. So at the end of the day, it's the duty of those that man our security to go to the top of the situation. We are losing so many people, spending a lot of resources, and we simply can't afford it. And we must urge government to go that route, because this one of promising to wipe out, we've had that every other day.
Dr. Matembe, a quick comment on that incident?
Well, for me it was really extremely terrible as a mother. As a mother, imagining my son or my daughter going to a honeymoon, and that is the end of their lives. That's what killed my heart. It was so sad, and I really extend my sympathies to these parents and the way they died. And when I saw the fire, and I wondered if it is ADF. Who is ADF? Are they Ugandans? Or they are not Ugandans? Because if they were Ugandans, I wonder what it pays them when they destroy Uganda as a country. Because if that incident alone traveling all over the world, you can imagine the damage now it has done on tourism industry. And you are doing that for your country, Uganda, because you want to come in and rule. Actually, it sent me into thinking, who is ADF? Are they human beings? Because if you're a human being, really, you see these people, they are tourists, they are not part of the government that is disturbing you or anything. Poor young people, and you come and you burn the wife in the vehicle, and are you a human being? I just was saying, God, can't you release fire onto these people wherever they are, because it is too much. First of all, they are not human beings. Second, if they are Ugandans, I think they should burn them in the bush, because how can they be wanting to come over and take over a country which they don't love? Because if you do that kind of thing, that shows that you hate the country, and therefore you don't want it, you want it to come to a halt on economic development, then you don't like it. Now, on the part of the government, I have no comment, but as you know, I have no faith and no trust in this government. And this whole nonsense of always saying, yes, we shall arrest. Whom have they ever arrested? Even just people who shoot people. You remember our people who died just like that. Whom do they arrest and charge? And if they can't arrest those who are in Uganda here, killing people, and then they are in the bush where they are, we are in control. I want to agree with my colleague here that surely pride must stop somewhere. You know, when you are so proud of your military and your army, and all you think about is we shall finish them, we are strong in the army, we are doing, and yet the opposite is there. And you being made into fun, it is just like they are shouting, we are going to deal with corruption. And in the end, they deal with nothing. Why don't they come down to humility? And you know, God hates the proud and gives grace to the humble.
Thank
There
you.
is a stage where you must reach and say, Konkaha, where things have reached. If there are enemies, let us come together. Let's reason together and sort out the situation.
Thank you. Chris, a quick comment on that incident, and especially on the communication part. A very quick statement came out from the police, and then people were beginning to question, saying, how did you know? How did you conclude so quickly?
And that lies the problem sometimes. First of all, this incident, like all others have said, is very, very absurd for a country and an industry where we are just beginning to see its recovery. But then, when we are communicating, we should be aware that Uganda does not only have one national park. I am very sure there were tourists at Kidepo, and they are safe and secure as we speak, under the same government, under the same security apparatus. I'm sure Murchison Falls still has tourists who are also reading about this incident, wherever they are, and they are safe, meaning that these things happen. Mugahinga is there. So this has happened at Queen Elizabeth. Now the dilemma is why, like others are asking, why do you do it on a foreigner? Then there is something unbelievable in you. If the anger is with the government, what does it have to do with this Briton and South African?
And even the Ugandans.
And even the Ugandans.
Not a mere driver.
So,
I mean a tour guide.
so I think we need to send a message to the world that no, we regret this because nobody wants it. It's regrettable, unfortunately irreversible. But does not mean Uganda is a no-go area. Either deliberate or not choose to always see the bad side of their own selves. And we want others to see us that way. And let others have no business with us. If we don't get tourists, others will not lack water in their countries. It's us who lack. We will not we are the ones who will suffer budget shortfalls. So at a certain level, we need to be able to be aware to that fact. I agree, dialogue is very key in many of these public affairs. There's a time you need to talk, there's a time you need to agree. But again, when you are talking, you need to understand the person you are talking to. What is the agenda of ADF? At least national, who knows it? So that we can put pressure on the government that please talk to these guys. They have issues that
They have issues that need to be
that we agree with. But these fellows are, you don't seem to see the agenda. The next agenda, Kichwamba. The next thing you see, this school in Kasese again. Now, if you really, do we reward you for killing children? If there is, government must talk, which is okay, but talk about what and with who? So even the ADF should actually, let them come out and have the agenda, rather than saying it is us who have done it. You're hurting people. So if government must talk with such people, then it's going to be difficult for others to believe. Are you rewarding them for having done what they have done? So even the government has to be very cautious a bit. So I think at this point, the UPDF must make it risky, highly risky, if whoever wants to do that. Now, if they have a political agenda, let it be known. Then we can put government under pressure that I think from the points they have, go on a round table. For now, really, it is very fuzzy. It is about blood. It's about bombs. Really, when you begin talking like that, then there's a problem.
Thank you. Let's return this discussion to the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. On the front line tonight, we discuss what is it, the chaos that we see in Parliament. What does it mean? What is driving it? Is it unique to the 11th Parliament? Have we seen incidents like this before? Let me start with the 2-hour leader of opposition, Member of Parliament for Butambala. Your 2 hours themselves were quite dramatic in themselves, and we see quite a lot of drama in Parliament lately. Honorable Mwanga Chivombe, can you convince Ugandans that you guys are sitting in that Parliament to discuss serious national issues that change through the legislation that you make, through the policies that you that come out of that legislation, through the appropriation that you do, can actually have an impact on your voters in Butambala, on his voters in Ndorwa?
Exactly.
When we see a lot of that drama every other day.
First of all, I protest the word drama. There could be a lot of tension, and because this is a serious issue, the first task of any government is to protect property, people and their property. Now, in the last couple of, not even months, for as long as all of us can remember, we've been living, and for some time, because you have an episode of reasonableness in Uganda, you close your eye and say, okay, let's move. But for as long as there has been competitive politics in Uganda, there has been a trend where government of NRM and the security apparatus in this country descend on the people of Uganda, murder them, kill them in open daylight, humiliate them. If they are journalists, beat them up, confiscate their property. We are not speaking about events that have happened just this, you could say from Manene Road, for as long as it's Kalangal Action Plan, beat up people. It seems at every time Chiboko Squad beat up people, and these are state-inspired violence. Then it's becoming trendy to kill a couple of Ugandans by state apparatus and get away with it.
We'll come to that in a moment. Let's first go back. One of your members, the Honorable Francis Zake, was the subject of debate in Parliament for remarks he apparently made about a colleague member of Parliament, Juliet Sinyamatama, just the other day. And we were watching, and I mean, Ugandans are watching you and saying, are these people discussing the issues they should be discussing? Now, the Abdu Katuntu Committee on Rules and Privileges is going to spend more time, more taxpayers' money, investigating that incident. Let's start from there. We'll come to the statement of the leader of opposition today in regard to the disappearances and the statement from
yes, I just want to believe the one of Chinyamatama was a one-off, an aberration, far away from the normal. And I think it was diversionary from serious issues that are affecting this country. And for us to even expound them much more on this platform, we are still being diversionary. And I do not really want to spend a lot of this precious time discussing a speech of one Zake somewhere in Chotera, Rakai,
in our constituency.
In a constituency of Chinyamatama. It became an issue. That issue was brought when we were seriously considering pertinent issues of human rights abuse with impunity. Therefore, I will be very hesitant to spend this precious time here, this late hour of the day, discussing the Chinyamatama issue. I will be honest with you. I will spare me for this talk show. Abdu Katuntu can deal with this if he has time. If there are some Uganda that want to spend time discussing this, I am not on their side. I want to spend this time here discussing serious issues. But
and Ugandans are demanding of you that you spend time in Parliament discussing serious issues.
Yes, and I want to dedicate this front line to discuss serious issues. If you want to discuss it in Nyamatama, not with me.
Honorable Bahati, let me come to you.
Yes.
Yes. We saw a lot of foot stamping, a lot of excitement in Parliament over what many members of Parliament, not just Mwanga Chivumbi, say, was an unserious issue that shouldn't be used to waste precious Parliament's time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Charis, and thank you, Honorable, for the comments that you have made. You see, Charis, what happens is that Parliament is a temple of democracy, where we go to practice this system of governance, government of the people, for the people, and by the people. That's where we go. And as we do this, like any other place of worship, you have rules that govern. If you go to a mosque, there are steps and things that you do. If you go to a church, there is a way you conduct yourself. Even us in Parliament, we have rules of procedure. I actually came with a book, a whole book. We have the whole book where we refer to, and these rules of procedure emanate from the Constitution. and they are approved by members of parliament. All of us agree, and we vote on them and agree. And among the rules of procedure are ESCO issues. I'm very surprised, by the way, to hear that the Honorable Chivumbi is taking this matter just lightly, that a code of conduct of a member of parliament is not an important issue to the country. That you can go to parliament and behave the way you want, and that becomes a non-issue. It's an issue. The way a member of parliament behaves is of a concern for the people of Uganda. So we have rules. We have the way we dress, we have the way we talk, we have the way we raise our issues. So in this case, just a quick comment of Juliet Nyamatama. Honorable Zake went to his constituents and abused him, and he says that he was a prostitute. That's what he stated, a member of parliament.
Those are the words she said she couldn't get out through her mouth.
We have a practice in parliament that if I'm going to Honorable Chivumbi's place, I inform him, and when I go there, I cannot go to Honorable Chivumbi's constituency and start abusing him in that constituency. So Honorable Nyamatama was concerned, and using the rules of procedure, he came and raised the matter. When he raised the matter, we put the question to order, rather to the vote, whether we should actually watch the film. And it was passed by the majority that we should watch what happened there. And we debated that. Some members started behaving the way they behaved. So we have a duty as members of parliament to respect the rules of procedure. We have a duty as members of parliament to respect the speaker that we have elected ourselves. We have a duty to conduct ourselves in a manner that actually represents what we are as members of parliament to the people of Uganda. Ugandans are watching us. Ugandans are watching us. So one of the things that I want to
majority of the people who are rising up in that, you're the chairman of the NRM in Kabale district, and you're a senior leader within the party, in parliament and in government. Much of the drama we saw was coming from the benches of the NRM members of parliament.
Yes, we have,
especially the women members of parliament.
Charles, what I'm saying is that we have a duty to keep this house decent. And one of the things that we had a meeting with a caucus meeting where even I think some of the members of the opposition were. We must keep this house decent. And one of the things that we are saying to all our colleagues is that heckling is not part of the distance that we are talking about, and whether it comes from our side or the side of
you can help our viewers understand what many see as not living up to that duty, that responsibility. Very many people, when preparing for this show, when we first discussed the topic earlier, they were saying, look, go back to 2017, the debate on lifting of the age limit, the fight in parliament. Many see this as a kind of deterioration, and you deviating as members of parliament, not just you as an individual, deviating from or reneging on that responsibility to keep the distance of the house and keep it focused on the issue.
Yes, when these things happen, we deal with them. The issue of Kinyamatama, when it came, we dealt with it. When the leader of opposition the other day also wanted to move and show the video of Honorable Kyagulanyi, we also dealt with it. And the same way that the speaker dealt with this issue of Kinyamatama is the same way that he dealt with the Honorable Kyagulanyi. He said, let us put this matter to vote like we did with Juliet Kyamatama, and we put it on vote, and we dealt with this. I want to say that it is not going to be possible, and Honorable Chivumbi knows, that the violence or the walkout of the minority will suppress the logic of the majority. It's not going to work. It doesn't work that way. But also it is important to note that while these things are happening, as they are happening, there are also other work that we are doing as members of parliament. For example, we have passed a number of bills in the House. We have passed anti-homosexuality bills, we have passed the oil bills that are now doing the regulating the framework within the region, the Albertine region. We have passed the competition bill, we have passed the budgets. So there are areas where all of us as members of parliament, we should know that we are really representing Ugandans. And there are those areas that we have agreed, and there are those areas that we have disagreed. For example, there are areas where Chivumbi has made some amendments to the issues regarding the budget, and we have agreed. There are areas where we have disagreed. But this conduct of walking out, this conduct of saying if we, like now, we are coming to that issue of the leader of opposition today. We debated the matter. We have been handling issues of human rights. I can read you a number of issues that we have handled with human rights. But when the speaker said, you know, bring a statement, you, the Minister of Internal Affairs, in 1 month, they walked out.
Okay.
So what does that mean?
Chris, I'll keep you waiting for just a little while. Let me get to Honorable Dr. Matembe here. You sat in that parliament. You saw the debates. We didn't see during your time what we're seeing today. What is the difference? What are
But there are different environments, different circumstances, different people. They all determine what happens.
Well, the same
But
parliament.
what I want to say, of course, you can't compare our times with the current times. You won't take me into all that. But what I want to say is, my brother here talked of Parliament being a temple of democracy. For me, as a Ugandan, who sees what is happening, who even saw what was happening when these women rose up, I looked at it as nonsense. Because if it is a temple of democracy, you know very, very well that NRM is overwhelming majority. So if you say that we are putting it to vote, we are putting it to vote, and what you are putting to vote is an issue which is concerning the minority. Now, that means the minority are always defeated. And as far as the things we are discussing are concerned, and for me, when I debate with the Ugandans, who really don't behave or they act as if they don't live in Uganda. Because, I mean, we've been living in this country for so long, and we know what goes on. For me, what happens when you say that, first of all, if a member of parliament are outside the parliament, and they have their challenges there outside the parliament, I want to know if what Zake said about Chinyamatama is wrong. It is not the parliament to prove whether it is wrong or not. It is the court of law. If Chinyamatama knows that Zake went there in the constituency, first of all, me, I don't agree with wrongdoing. It is not right for a member of parliament to go in the constituency of somebody without knowing that she's going there. When I used to be a member of parliament, I would be invited by many women in their, because I was like the leader, the one they want to listen to. They call me in different areas. Those local women, I tell them, tell you a member of parliament, because she's the one to receive me in her constituency. And I would not go to somebody's constituency without, if I tell her, she says, it's all right, madam, I'm busy here, but you know, you go. Then I would go, and of course, me, I used to go to mentor, to motivate, and to mobilize women on the gender question. So it's not right for any member of parliament to go in somebody's constituency when he's not there, and he doesn't know, and then says what is wrong. Secondly, when he says what is wrong, like what I hear, you go to court and sue him, because you were saying, she said she's what?
You call her
a prostitute.
Yes, she said she wouldn't utter the words herself, but those are the words that
she said she's a prostitute. Because for you to say Miriam Matembe is a prostitute, I don't go to parliament to prove for me that I'm not a prostitute. I go to court. I go to court and sue this Zake, and we go to court and they hear. And when I approve I'm not a prostitute, then what? The court
Awards you.
Awards me. For sure, for me, a matter which is outside Parliament, and you bring it to Parliament to waste the time of Parliament, I don't think I agree with that. That is point number one. You didn't read this as the rule. Every Parliament makes its own rules. So I don't know what their rules
rules
are.
for the 11th
But
Parliament.
for me, that is as a distinguished citizen of this country who have been a leader, and moreover a leader whose character is not questionable. I don't see how you bring matters, because a member of Parliament is the one who talked about another, and then you come and waste the time of Parliament. And by the way, in the Parliament, they were also saying this man is hopeless, he's useless. They were abusing him also. So what is that now? And second, I saw these women. They rose up to defend their fellow woman. I'm not saying women should not be defended, but I want to ask Mwambahati. I have been in this country. I have seen how the opposition women, members of Parliament and non-members are treated like trash. They strip them naked, right wrong, from FDC, along the, who is this woman who used to be beaten almost every day, stripped naked, and they stripped them naked. And at one time, that time when what was the problem? Is it in West Nile when Chaguranyi's driver was
shot?
Many women were tortured. You ask me, we in FIDA, in the women NGO, we are the people who got those women, who took them for treatment, who were fundraising money for them to treat them. The members of Parliament of NRM, the women, I've never seen or had any woman of NRM defending all these other women who suffer. And yet, they are supposed to be there for our cause.
For the women's cause.
So, does it mean that it is only this Chinyamatama, and then they fight for Chinyamatama during COVID? When all these girls were defiled, I left Parliament long ago, but if I tell you during COVID all those years, the girls, the women that were violated, those that were defiled, I, with my NGOs, Uganet, we had to establish a center where we were protecting all those women. I didn't see the NRM women coming in. So now I ask, because one woman, Chinyamatama, Simanyi, they had said something about her. Even recently, Women's Day, when I was in Parliament, district women leaders were responsible. We would go and organize Women's Day, we get guest of honor, we celebrate Women's Day. This time, the women in opposition were prevented from organizing their women for Women's Day. Instead, when they came over to demonstrate or something, they were there mistreating them. The NRI members of Parliament were quiet. For me, that's not good for Matembe, who fights women's cause.
Let's take a break. Let's pick this conversation up in a moment. We'll be right back.
Uganda, are you ready for a reggae-filled night sipping on some red wine? You better be, because UB40 featuring Ali Campbell is here. Cheerio, baby. 15 years since these legends performed in Uganda, UB40 featuring Ali Campbell is back to help you fall in love. Mark the date, this December 21st, 2023. At Kololo Independence Grounds, celebrating the festive season with the spice of reggae. Let's paint the city colors of celebration. Close out the year with UB40 featuring Ali Campbell. Tickets available on tangticketing.com from October 25th, 2023.
So, you are ready to invest in Airtel's initial public offering? Good choice. I'm going to show you how to do it straight from your phone. First, you're going to want to make sure you have a Securities Central Depository SCD account. Dial *185*85# from your Airtel number. Choose Airtel IPO purchase from the available options. Enter your valid national identification number when prompted. Before you purchase, there are a few things you need to know. The minimum purchase is 2,500 shares. The share price is 100 Uganda shillings. Select the number of shares you wish to purchase. Choose your relevant broker for the purchase. Enter your Airtel Money PIN to confirm the transaction. Congratulations! You receive a confirmation message of your successful purchase.
Youth Go Green, in partnership with the Ministry of Energy, invites you to be a part of the 5th SDG run under the theme Run for Energy Access. Her Excellency Jessica Alupo, the Vice President of the Republic of Uganda, will flag off this epic run on Sunday, 29th October 2023 at Kololo Grounds starting at 7:30 a.m. Register today for the 5-kilometer, 10-kilometer and 17-kilometer run and book your kit at only 20,000 shillings. Call 0788-964-857 or 0701-030-673. Come run for your SDG.
Your next Coke could be your ticket to the good times. Grab a bottle, sip, and scan the QR code in-store on Coke Mini and unlock cool music experiences. Coke Studios back with real magic.
Are you having headache, sore throat, muscle pain, toothache, or fever? Then use Curamo Plus. Curamo Plus is strong on pain and gentle on stomach. It's available in all drug shops countrywide. It's not recommended for children under the age of 12 years. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
I'm going to Nyege Nyege! Step into the world of Nyege Nyege for 4 unforgettable days and nights where your wildest dreams come to life and the party never stops. Come with us as we return to the source of the Nile from November 9th to 12th and dance the night away with your crew while 300 international and local artists set the Nile ablaze. Secure your tickets and accommodation now at www.nyegenyege.com and feel the wonder of Nyege Nyege with Uganda Warji and Smirnoff. Brought to you by Talent Africa, NBS TV, Nyege Nyege Tapes, Ginger City Council, Smirnoff Vodka and Uganda Warji.
Alcohol is not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Please drink responsibly.
Attention! Many of you have been buying backroom sheets. That has to stop. Engineer Kajubi Nduse. Classing session. No school fees. Kati waliwo abagamba nti all mabati are the same. Mbalaba. It seems you wanted to take in building your home. Some of you go to make road call on your roof, only to find that currency has to be. And those of you taking shortcuts, now let me tell you, superior quality, Terimba. Ask for Uganda but because nothing beats superior quality.
Choose from Uganda Bati's wide range of superior quality roof sheets and make your home the pride of the neighborhood.
Wow, this is what I call a home.
Uganda Bati, nothing beats superior quality. NBS Frontline.
Welcome back to this edition of the Frontline on NBS TV. We've been joined by another member. I understand this man comes from Kijura and they have a very bad road. So Edgar Tabaro has been struggling to get...
Kijura in Burahia, Kabarore district.
I've seen a petition about it, so... But Edgar Tabaro, very nice to have you.
Oh, thank you very much, Charles. There was a bit of road diversions
there's some resealing of some roads in Munyonyo. And unfortunately for me, unlike the Honorable Bahat, I don't have a clear and chase vehicle to be able to maneuver the traffic to this extreme end of the town. But I should have beeped you.
You should have called him and then he lent you.
No, he was in charge of the national pass. He should have given us more money to repair roads in Kampala when he was in the finance.
We're talking about the other road end. But Chris Obore, speaking for Parliament, in circumstances like this, when incidents happen outside of Parliament and they are brought into Parliament, for you as a person who speaks for Parliament, how more difficult does that make your job? And then when these other what many people call side shows overshadow the otherwise good work that Parliament is doing, how do you manage that competition?
It is a tough job, but it's doable. Because people have to, we qualify to do these jobs. But I get your point, and I want to start from there. But first, I respect Honorable Kivumbi. He knows it naturally. He's one of the cognitively blessed members of Parliament. Anybody who questions that will be malicious, irrespective of their shades of political opinion. But what I want to invite him to is not to ring fence the issues that should be discussed or not discussed in Parliament, especially if it comes to human rights. Human rights is a broad subject. It's broad. I'm happy that the councils are here. Human rights, even their individual rights, then their group rights. I can understand him to be coming from the rights of the political actors, especially that subscribe to his political thinking, who are also citizens, which is a very important thing to crusade. But it should not come at the expense of the individual rights of other citizens, like Honorable Kinyamatama. That I would really invite you, Honorable, to pay attention to that. The day a country ignores the rights of individuals and begins to say this don't matter, that's the day we collapse completely. Every citizen has got a right to dignity. All of us here want to be honored. It's why we call you honorable. All of us deserve dignity as individuals. When you lower my dignity, it is also abuse of my rights. The other ones are physical marks you leave on those people who are arrested, who are beaten by security, as you say. But there is the emotional abuse you can subject to somebody. It is as traumatizing as a physical abuse. So as leaders, we cannot begin saying, that is not a matter. I would really invite you to see it that way. And two, I would like to ask you, our leaders, I call you my bosses, to understand one thing, that which is different from you is not necessarily dangerous. It is why the reason talking comes in. It's why reasoning together comes in. But when we draw lines, you are this, you are that, we are likely to lead to extremism. That's my humble submission about this matter. And when it comes to Parliament, Parliament is an institution. You stand as individuals. People elect you from different corners of this country. But when you come together in that institution called the August House, you become a group. You come with the individual assignment, but then you have the group assignment now, hence the rules of procedure. It includes you dealing with the issues of torture, issues of the economy, issues, even the poorest citizens should be heard in that Parliament. I will be surprised when you say one of you should not be heard. Yes, legalism is one way to solve public issues, but the law has fallen short in many ways. That is why we cannot run a one-track resolution system. Even courts of law these days discourage this extreme litigation. Have you heard this? I don't know, you remind me, Council. They tell you first mediation. Why do we then say court? Well, now we are going for a litigant society. Then again we say At one point, courts are useless. What do we want? Honorable Chivumbi, with due respect, let us clarify issues such that we don't mix them up. With the clarity of issues, we're able to know this issue has arisen out of this, and this is how we can resolve it. Without saying, leave that one, let's go with this one. Then people will begin asking, who determines what is important and what's not important? It is a discussion.
Shouldn't Parliament...
So we cannot say, Honorable Kinyamatama, who feels... Honorable Kinyamatama feels so abused emotionally. And she belongs to a parliament which has ethical standards. She is appealing to the rules of parliament. And then we should not justify it. You don't say, don't dismiss her. You can reason her out. But don't say, don't be discussed by parliament, I don't want it. Because your rights as individuals, Honorable Chivumbi, are very significant. And the rights of all of us together. But we cannot proceed for rights of all of us together when one Chivumbi is feeling tortured by their own people. That is not a country we need.
Thank you.
So the rules exist. How you process your business should be your concern as my leaders. I was happy with the Deputy Speaker. I've heard all these stories, oh, they are young people. I think, Honorable, the Honorable Bahati, you were there yesterday. Very genuine. The leader of opposition. That we all have a parliament to manage. We have a country to run. I was humbled, even said, colleagues, why have gone wrong? Is why I've called you here. I'm sorry to discuss what we do internally. But if it takes that for you to understand that actually these people, the leadership of parliament, feel the way others feel, but then you cannot come out all the time dismissing. He said, please, leader of opposition, Honorable Cecilia, you're there. What do we do? This is the way to go. So I don't like the dismissive approach because it gives us, we take a higher pedestal. We fall a victim for what we are trying to fight. We now become the righteous one, the other ones are always wrong. I want you, Honorable Kivumbi, with all the intellect I know you're endowed with, to clarify, okay, this matter is there, resolve it this way. This one, tackle it this way. They are competing interests in parliament.
Thank you. Let me take a message from Dr. Grace Lubal. He says, associate myself entirely with Honorable Matembe's submission. Indeed, Parliament has degenerated to discuss Honorable Zake and Kinyamatama as a matter of national importance. Thank you, Dr. Lubale, for your comment. I have another message here. The Minister talks of Parliament as a temple of democracy. Does he remember when the army and police invaded the High Court and injured the judges and the court staff? Why didn't they respect its sanctity? I think they use that word when it suits them. I have another comment here. I'll just be picking a few, not all the comments. Peter Majela is watching us and says, now does the words, she's a prostitute, now that the words, she's a prostitute, have been repeated on the show, will she be suing you guys for defaming her? Will right-thinking members of the public shun her after the above statement? He's asking. Peter Majela is a lawyer.
I would like to take part in that case.
Ken Mutenyo is watching us and says, most of those members of parliament who staged the uncoordinated walkout, I think this was your 2 hours as a leader of opposition, walkout, were elected on the basis of how much drama they staged during the campaigns. They became members of parliament because of how much they abused Museveni and how much they were going to block NRM. Therefore, when there is none, they will create drama. The plan to walk out was never discussed by the entire opposition. They ended up catching the opposition colleagues by surprise. They were elected to talk, and they must talk. With about 2.5 years left to the next elections, we can only brace for more drama. I am referring to the first walkout, and Zake's mission was to damage Kinyamatama politically, and Parliament was the right place to take the issue, not the courts of law. I also have a message here from Gift. BMK, he says, in the video, Honorable Zake Francis talks of Nalumansi Chamatama. Does Parliament of Uganda have an MP from Rakai called Nalumansi Chamatama? The nearest name is Honorable Juliet Nyamatama Subi, District Woman MP, Rakai District. How will Honorable Abdu Katuntu and the team handle this issue that she was not referred to directly? Or, yeah, but since she brought it up in Parliament, maybe we can discuss it. Harold Achema is watching us from Arua, and he says, with all due respect to members of parliament, the Parliament of Uganda has degenerated into a theater of the absurd where there are no minimum standards. The August House should not be turned into a circus. Uganda and Ugandans deserve a lot better. That's Ambassador Harold Achema watching us from Arua. And I have, yes, Charles Opoloti says, the choice of your, okay, he's talking about the studio, but can something, okay. Okay, Charles, I will pass the message on to the production team, and they will be able to deal with some of the issues. Yeah? Charles Opolot. Is that Charles Opolot? Yes, this is Charles Opolot. Yes. Thank you for the comments, and keep them coming. Yes, let me take a message from Saul Mugasa. Yes, Honorable Matembe is my hero woman. That's Saul Mugasa, who is watching us. Let me also take one more message. I agree with Miriam Matembe. She's spot on. Why make Parliament a court of law? If she was defamed, the right place to address her grievance is court. Indeed, why were the NRM MPs up in arms in the case of Nyamatama when worse things have happened to women in opposition and they kept mum? She identifies herself, the writer identifies themselves as a Dieri. I have another message here from, let me see, Tina, who says, good evening. In the recent fracas, Zake appears the common denominator. What does Honorable Zake stand for? Since 2016, what is the legacy of Zake in Parliament? He attacked the Vice Chancellor, Professor Nawango, in the 10th Parliament. He attacked and abused the Speaker and Parliament using derogatory and abusive language. He abused the two MPs, Javira, Chamatama, and the entire Parliament as being useless. Is he the quality of an MP that Uganda wants, or we instead elected wrong people to Parliament? Leadership is about ideas and character. The moment we allow leadership as populism, excitement, anger, hate, it implies mediocrity over competence. Then the arrest of Chagulanyi at Entebbe, which has caused the controversy, yes, was done in the most professional manner. There is no serious government, even if it was led by NUP, that would allow a 1 million march on a major road like Entebbe Road to welcome a leader from abroad. Police has a right to arrest someone if it suspects that he is about to commit a crime. He was held for a few minutes and released. The police had taken it lightly. People would die of accidents, congestion, etc. Business would have been affected hugely, and the economy would face a problem. Freedom of movement or assembly is a derogable right under our constitution. I can't make out the name. Yes, I think this is George. Someone called George, yes. Let me see. Yeah, let me stop at that for now. I have so many messages coming in. But Edgar Tavaro, the major question is Parliament and how it's conducted itself this far. We see repeat incidents of dramatic scenes in Parliament. Some people call them chaos. And we're saying, wait a minute, Parliament is deviating from the important issues affecting the country and spending quality time for the voters, for Ugandans, on what appears to be not very serious issues.
Well, it depends on what we think is serious and what is unserious. There's a general decline of decorum in the way we conduct our public affairs in Uganda. What we have in Parliament now is a mirror reflection of what our society is. As I was making my way to the studio, I watched and listened to the Honorable Dr. Matembe, dealing on the fact that the Honorable Chinyamatama Subi Kobusinji, she's a third-term MP, right? Second term, eh?
Second term.
So I wouldn't classify her as a young parliamentarian. She should have developed tough skin for some of these political insults and what they call, what have you. It's not the first time we have heard politicians using such words. I don't want to repeat some of the words on this show. I would be insulting the decency of our viewers. But we've had a minister appearing before a committee of parliament investigating copper rivets, and timber from Congo. And you heard the words he mentioned, very using adjectives and swear words. It's not the first time we're having this. And talking about Parliament dwelling on what seems to be a personal issue. I'd like to draw parallels, 1960s. I can't remember the exact year. Dr. Bote was on a countrywide tour and went through Nkore. As he was driving through Nkore, he says he cited the late Honorable Byanyima. That he waved, the Honorable Byanyima didn't what?
Byanyima Boniface.
Boniface Byanyima did not wave back. So Dr. Bote brought it up on the floor of Parliament, referring to the Honorable Byanyima as a bad man. And Byanyima's defense was that Obote, ever since the events of 1966 occurred, that his convoy had become longer. So he moved in a very long convoy that he waved until he got tired, used the other arm to hold the arm to wave. So by the time his car came, he had gotten tired. He had given up on that. That was his explanation on the what? On the floor of Parliament. I'm trying to draw parallels that really a politician should develop tough skin.
Without interrupting, just to make this fun. One time when Wapakabro had become a chairperson of CA, I think Matsuko had wanted to. Matsuko, is he Matsuko, the one who used to be Attorney General? You were young people. He's from up there in the north. Masika. Hey, Masika had contested, so he was not happy, he was defeated.
From Mbale municipality.
Here on CA.
Yes.
And then Wapakabro came to be
he petitioned and the court ordered the re-election, but Wapakabro had already been elected
chairperson and Masika was in CA. And so Masika offended Wapakabro. He said, in his statement, he said for the first time, Simai has seen a bag seated on the bench. You know, when a bag, you know the bags,
a bag, the bench.
Which go into bed.
He
said a bag is on the bench. And then Wapakabro looked around and said, you people, are your benches, do you see bags? You see baggers on your benches. And we all laughed, and Wapakabro took fun of it, and we laughed, and it passed.
I'll come to you. Yes, please, you can jump
in. Yes, so really,
Honorable Bahati wanted to jump in.
Looking at the statement of her being called a so-called prostitute, you know, first of all, if it was made by the Honorable Mwanga Chivombi, it's a statement that one would like really to go and study more deeply. But Honorable Zake, that is his modus operandi. He's foul-mouthed. And in law, there's what we call vulgar vituperations. Statements that are made in anger are not actionable in the courts of law. That's the truth of the matter. And if you were to ask any lawyer who studied media and the law of defamation, any serious lawyer who studied the law of defamation, this matter is not actionable in court. And in a case, prostitute is political lingua. It's Ugandan parlance to refer to what? Being shifty. And I've heard, I don't want to mention names, in the early days of the NRC, they used to talk of siasa ya umalaya. So really, our leaders, honestly, ought to rise, political prostitute, our leaders ought to rise to the occasion. And the August House is a place, you called it a temple of democracy. It's a place where people go to debate interests. And unfortunately for societies like ours that are primordial, pre-industrial, and largely peasantry, the debates are over identity. Debates are over, never about interests. Even where there's an attempt to craft a consensus that we go by interest. So in such situations, or in such circumstances, tempers tend to flare. Now, it's incumbent upon leadership on either side of the political divide to rein in this militarism, this extremism that is setting in, and that debate can only be settled physically or by shutting the other voice on either side of the political divide.
Thank you. Honorable Bahati, you wanted to jump in, but I also need to put... Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
First, to update the Honorable Matembe that since you left Parliament, there are things that we are doing as members of Parliament. So when an issue comes to the House, the Speaker has an obligation to deal with it. If a member stands on the floor and said, I'm raising this issue, the Speaker must conclude it. And we want to applaud the Deputy Speaker who was in the chair, that day. He said, let the issue go to the committee and be looked at, investigated and be looked at. But I also want to say,
some people have argued you're importing something from a place of no privilege. Because statements made, even by members of Parliament, outside the precincts of Parliament, do not enjoy privilege. Yeah, but so he importing that from outside and bringing it inside the House, especially where it concerned colleague members of Parliament.
But look here, there are two members of Parliament seated together. Somebody I've been to Chivumbi's constituency several times, and every time I go there, I have got to inform him. Unfortunately, every time I'm going, he doesn't come to receive me. I hope he doesn't come to receive me. But I cannot go to Chivumbi. I know what happened in some of those areas. And come and say Chivumbi is a drug addict. And then you meet me in the House. So the Honorable Juliet Nyamatama brought this in the context that this is my colleague. He's here. He has gone to my constituency, abused me. What do I do? He brought it to the House, and the House dealt with it the way we dealt with it. Now, you are saying the members of Parliament, the women members of Parliament have been quiet in some places where these things have been happening. I want to assure you that members of Parliament, the women members of Parliament, actually have been very, very supportive of the women causes, even on the floor of the House. I remember when this issue came, when there were some turbulences about the opposition women members of Parliament in holding their celebrations for women, women of members of Parliament stood up and supported this cause. There are issues of maternal health that women members of Parliament have been really advocating for. So it is not proper and accurate that...
me, I said when the opposition women members of Parliament, I mean opposition women have been stripped naked, they beat them, they suffer. I never heard
They were actually one of the people who were, some of the members of Parliament who were supporting that and condemning it were women members of Parliament from the NRM on both sides.
Okay.
Yes, I was there.
Yes. At one time, I made a statement on the floor of Parliament, and the Honorable Bahati felt really I hurt him. What he did, he approached me privately. I said, by the Honorable Chivumbi, and it was like a joke. The other joke he made was not a good joke. I said, Honorable Bahati, that's a simple matter. I'll go on the floor of Parliament tomorrow and even apologize to you and retract that statement. I just believe, first and foremost, the Speaker of Parliament was approached by Kinyamatama before he raised the issue on the floor. Therefore, the Speaker had the latitude to advise Honorable Kinyamatama how to go about this issue.
And whatever happens...
No, let's go through the procedure, because these days, you cannot raise even a matter of national importance without first seeking permission of the Speaker. So the Speaker, and no, that doesn't appear.
From the floor.
Yes, but
the Speaker has prior knowledge.
Has a prior knowledge. You know, the reason why that is so that the Speaker can judge the matter you are going to raise. Can it be addressed otherwise? For example, I chair the Uganda Parliamentary Caucus, where both Honorable Kinyamatama and Honorable Zake are members. And I've had a discussion of the two.
Before the
after this
debate?
Actually, Honorable Zake were discussing and told me, I don't think he was damn serious while making those statements. So I've had a discussion with the Honorable Chinyamatama, and I've had a discussion with the Honorable Zake as the chair of the caucus. And what we've said is different. I have an opinion of each one of them. And a commitment that, we need to de-escalate and not go further with this issue. So the speaker ought to even have handled that matter, in my view, differently. But given the context.
Honorable Mwanga Chivombe, does it say something about how you as leaders of members of the opposition have managed the people that fall under the opposition? Or have you just let them loose on the floor of the House?
I was still holding the floor. Yes. At Makerere University. He was 1 year ahead of me. And we used to interact, although he's forgotten me. And the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi of today and the Mwanga Chivumbi of then are very different. He has matured in both speech, thoughts, and stature. And now that I didn't know that he's chairman of Buganda parliamentary committee.
Caucus.
Caucus, rather, parliamentary caucus. I would counsel that you take them through the processes you have gone through yourself.
No, but what I wanted to say, Charles.
And counsel them on decorum.
Counsel, what I wanted to say, really to put this in context, this member of parliament, the statements were made in her constituency. They were circulated on the social media. This is a situation that is affecting my voters in my constituency. She approached the speaker, and this matter was raised under the rules of parliament. As a national, yes, an attack, yes, it is, to abuse.
Please.
Okay,
this is not a matter of national importance.
To you, it is not.
No, to Ugandans, by the way, who are listening.
That's what you are saying. But if you have a member of parliament, if you don't defend ethics of members of parliament, then what are you defending? That's the
which
context
ethics?
we're talking about. That's what we're talking about.
Let me take a message from...
I've been
let me take
quiet.
Yes.
Who has
yes,
ethics?
Chris.
The ones who responded?
Yes.
A lot from him. Yeah. Do we presuppose, because insults are part of polls, that they should become the way of life?
I would like to...
In connection to...
Can he conclude his question?
In connection to the role of a leader, whether at a local level, especially at a national level, to be an inspiration, to be a mentor, to be an example to others aspiring to be leaders. Would you presuppose that because they are members of parliament, they have the liberty to insult, they have the liberty to deny decorum, and yet we bestow on them title honorable? What does it mean?
The bit about today's panel, we have, she served in parliament in the NRC, and that was what, 5th and the 6th parliament. Your 3rd term, 2nd term legislator, he's Honorable Hart, and 7th, he has been head of communications parliament, and 3 speakers.
2.
2, yeah, well, 3 speakers.
Yes.
3 speakers. So we talking about, we have vast experience between them. It's not the first time insults have been used. And I'd like to, there's a court decision to that effect. Dr. Kiza Besige against YKM7, where Dr. Kiza Besige brought electronic recordings of insults against the person of Besige during the 2001 elections. And the judges, the Supreme Court, in its wisdom, ruled that during political season, tempers are likely to what? To flare. And insults are part and parcel of the what? Of the game. And mind you, I've talked of vulgar vituperation, words made in anger, words made at the spur of the what? Of the moment. It's not like he said it one or 2 more times. And given the circumstances, quite frankly.
What was the political context?
There will be a need to investigate what the
What was the context?
Discussing
we're
this
moving on. Let me take a message from mindset is what separates the best from the rest. It's the reason why opposition views everything with negativity. Time is now to change that mindset. That is James Nkojo Kano at TAC headquarters in Porongo. Let me also take a message from, yes, Kano Nkojo. Well, I have a message here which says, Honorable Nyamatama raised it under procedure and never shared it with the Speaker prior to raising it. And the Speaker made it clear he had seen the video, but he was yet to talk to both members of Parliament. That's when he put it to the decision of the entire House. Thank you for that message from one of our viewers sharing feedback to us. The Speaker allowed a non-issue to be brought into the House as a point of procedure. That has already been clarified. I think there was an explanation just a few seconds ago on this issue. Let me take a message from, I have so many messages. I have a message from Musa Ismail Ladu says, Charles, the time you dedicate to the Zake situation tonight means your docket, or should I say, script must have been exchanged with Parliament, order paper for last week, perhaps without your notice. Ismail Ladu, this is an important, the conduct of Parliament is an important issue for Ugandans to watch. You raised a critical question about the other issues that you've raised that haven't had as much attention, Honorable Mwanga Chivombe. You're talking about questions like what the leader of opposition raised in the House today, and the demand that answers are given. The leader of government business was in the House, and we also saw a bit of that drama. I want to take us back there.
Yes, the issue is why some of us are now taking a little bit, I call it an assertive stance. I don't want to use the word aggressive, okay? Why we are now being a little bit on the press on these issues, that there is a growing impunity in this country. And a tendency to whitewash human rights abuses and return to business as usual. And that decency about Ugandans, the leaders are abusing it every other day. Actually, to the extent that they are now taking us for granted. For instance, a human right, a political party, fully registered, wants to convene prayers inside a gated community on a given day. Before you wake up, I mean, there are soldiers surrounding an office, top leadership are beaten. All you would see is the minister concerned to come and a little rationalize. Say, oh, this was independence, you cannot organize the parallel. And some of us have had history with defending human rights. When we were aggrieved so many years ago, we petitioned the court on the question of the powers of the police to prohibit. Okay? And and the case of Mwanga Chivumbi versus the Attorney General is a landmark case. And the court ruled that police do not enjoy powers to prohibit. They can regulate a gathering. I was part, and Honorable Bahati, not Honorable Matembe, that elaborately discussed the Public Order Management Act. Actually, as this it, I was just a few months in Parliament, and this issue came up, having won the issue earlier. And we made very deliberate submissions on the floor of Parliament. We went ahead when we disagreed with the provisions of POMA. We still, myself and civil society, petitioned the court again on those contested provisions that had inherently now restored the powers of police to prohibit. Once again, our courts of law pronounced those provisions unconstitutional. Honorable Asmani Basalirwa brought a miscellaneous amendment to the effect that all those provisions that have been pronounced unconstitutional are expunged and no longer part of our legal books. That's where we are. Now, even when people are citing a 1 million march, the law that was left mandates the police to regulate is to discuss, to sit down with the organizers and discuss an alternative venue or a route. So if you inform police that you are going to march using
Entebbe Road.
Entebbe Road, the law requires police to write to you within 24 hours to say that that road has issues. You come on a given day and we discuss an alternative. In the event that does not happen, they should go to the court. But that's what the law says. Now, what has been happening?
Was that adhered to in your incident regarding the return of Chagulanyi?
Not at all. Not at all. Two.
Did you write to police for security?
Yes. A letter was written to police, informed them on what it was going to happen. Even they had an option of saying, you should not march to Entebbe, gather in Nambole, Honorable Chagulanyi will come from Entebbe and greet you. So all those are provisions within the legal space that you could discuss. But with the impunity, and there's been a growing impunity, they've taken it as a fashion to simply say, it doesn't matter. We shall get you off the plane.
You know, Charles, my biggest concern with the political elite in this country is that they are only concerned with human rights where their rights are being affected, the political rights. And they are considering the horizontal application, the vertical application, state as against an individual. We have much more violations between individuals, horizontal, and particularly in the peasantry. The evictions of persons, grabbing land. We even have the wealthy people who not just evict, but also detain people. There are cases of torture.
Are those issues being articulated
and they are not being articulated at all in Parliament.
No.
That is my biggest quarrel with the political elite.
Really, you are judging us wrongly.
It is my judgment, and I'm entitled to it.
And you are judging this wrongly.
I'm entitled to
For
it.
instance, we've been on record so many times raising issues of eviction, of land grabbing. And every other day, we raise those issues in Parliament.
In the manner in which you were raising,
yes,
in the same manner, standing up at
the hard stances, with hard stances. We've been raising these issues. I've been here on these talk shows, raising, actually it's so late that I've gone back to human rights. For the last 7 years, I've been dealing with the Honorable Bahati, raising economic issues and economic challenges. My brief has not been on human rights. And I've been up and down every other day questioning how government is paying pretty slow. But let me narrate it for you. Why these rights are so critical. If you are not allowing me to organize, to assemble, to associate, even when I'm an elected leader, I cannot meet the people complaining. Police stops me. What do you mean?
Honorable Mwanga Chivombe.
So what should I do first? Is to fight for this right? To freely organize and associate and assemble?
Honorable Mwanga Chivombe, the question many people would raise is that given that you haven't met with so much success in Parliament, have you reviewed your ways of presenting these issues?
Yes.
Would there be a problem with the way you raise them, that what appears to you as small matters get a lot more attention, and what you think are more important matters don't get the attention that...
Yes, you see, I know what people want to say, walkouts, let's be direct, yes, have not helped. But what are the options before a member of Parliament? And the following. I'll raise a matter, okay? The matter will be debated, and if need be, a majority decision will be taken, and I'm willing to live with it, having lost the vote. The second option, if I feel I can't do, because Parliament is a forum where you also have a right to say, come on, I can demonstrate a level of discontent, is to say, in a civic way, I'll not box or quarrel with you I'll demonstrate the unfairness because of the terrain of numbers and walk out. Yes, because you see what has happened, because of those walkouts, we're on this talk show.
Okay.
Discussing these issues. The other options, let me go through them. The other options, because I want Ugandans today to know the options. The other option is to do a Waswaziri to say this parliament is completely useless.
And resign.
As a legislator, I no longer have value here.
Let me give 30 seconds.
The other one,
and then,
let me go through the options
because I need to take a break.
the next action we are going to go through. The other option is to say, my friend, if you cannot listen to me, okay, and you cannot really answer this question, they're so critical to me, you will also not.
Thank you. Let me have Chris for about 30 seconds to a minute, and then I will have Honorable Bahati and take a break.
My perspective, I think we are discussing an outcome of a process that started a long time ago in this country. We planted a culture of no dialogue. What do I mean? If you are to oppose President Museveni, oppose it, whether you see him dressed, you say he's naked. The other one says if you see UPC, DP, these are mapingamizi in Kiswahili. Pingamizi. There was no room. It started when Museveni had just come from power. He got in Paul Semogerere, he got in very many people. The extremists actually were the Dr. Besigye.
The umbrella government, was that called the umbrella government?
The extremists then were young ministers like Dr. Besigye.
It was broad-based umbrella.
Broad-based.
Okay.
You see? To the extent they would make statements that were so hostile even to the media. Then eventually the Semogeres moved out and lines began being drawn. People come and say, Omusaya Jakogenda. He has to go. Now, our political leaders have taken us on that charade for a long time. It has reached a point now that their extremism is denying a country a line of possible agreement.
Consensus.
Yes, consensus. I've used that word a lot. When General Muntu said, let's talk, he's soft. They called him a mole. That even just to say, government is doing this better.
Thank you, Chris.
Now, the issue is, the government has taken a position. It suspects the opposition. Opposition thinks government is wrong. I have never seen, so I'm not just asking, the government must know that even the opposition are Ugandans. And I'm sure Honorable Bahati in his office, when he's planning for the country, I don't think you are planning for NRM. He plans for Uganda. That will be the issue. But I also don't see an area where the opposition one day has said, only this, we are with the government.
Okay.
If you hear that, then Uganda
let's
is
pick
going
that up
forward.
after a very short break, and I want to give you more time, because if I give you time now, I will not give you enough time. Sarah Birete, Dr. Sarah Birete, thank you for watching us from all the way from Zambia, and you say you share Dr. Matembe's views that this the Nyamatama issue is not a national issue and should not we should not spend a lot of valuable time on it. Let's take a break. I'll pick up a few more messages, but I want to give Honorable Bahati and Dr. Matembe some time to engage in this discussion. We'll be right back.
NBS Frontline.
Journey through color, discover new world beyond the ordinary. Switch on your imagination, let me take you on a tour. Ordinary is boring, switch it up a bit.
Ordinary is boring. Our paint is not. That's why Duracoat Color Mania machine gives you up to 4,000 amazing color shades. Visit your nearest dealer for more information today. Duracoat. Ask the experts.
Your next Coke could be your ticket to the good times. Grab a bottle, sip, and scan the QR code in-store on Coke Mini and unlock cool music experiences. Coke Studios back with real magic.
We all need light in this life, and at Lighting City, we make sure we light up your world in the way that you deserve, with the widest range of classy and unique selection from all over the world, with our customized products like Lighting City chandeliers, wall lights, Lighting City outdoor lights, spotlights and strip lights, bedside lamps, floor lights and garden lights. We also deal in electrical items like switches, electrical cables, and so much more. Find us in Kampala, 5th Street, Industrial Area, Chinese Business Hotel, opposite Mosque. Lighting City, the 21st century electrical and lighting.
Pay or shop with MTN Momo and get cashback every week. It's free of charge.
Olunaku olwaleero tuli wano eno Bulenga nga tuzze okwasa omukulu Muhammad pikipiki ye kapyata
kati omwami ono Kalogo agenda kwasibwa logo book eya piki ekiraga nti piki ye ku bubwe ebintu bya ddala sina kakwate kwe mutyenzi nze musajja ava eri ku Nairo kiyira mu nsiko eyo naye nkyebaliza Mukama nti olwaleero ogenza otuuka nga nze mpangudde piki mbadde simanyi kati ndi munene bannaye abadde bampa piki temumpa nafunye muteni yampadde
omwami wange agenda kutandika kuvuga boda ye yaba bose etteeka ku bunkenke yawedde twafunye boda eyaffe tugenda kukola nga tuli wamu.
Nkubiriza avuga piki yenna bw'okwata ng'otwala omusaabaze oyo asasule ng'akozesa ki Momo.
Use the Momo app or dial *165*3#.
This is how you dress for a Kwanjula. This is how you dress to meet your Nyasala. But this is how you dress for Oktoberfest Kampala, the Drench Edition. Come slay, play, eat, and drink at Uganda's biggest beer and food festival. There'll be incredible performances from Chameleon, Cindy, Abeka Band, Cohen JC, and many others. Muje to Lugogo Cricket Oval on October 28th, 2023. And bring the family. Gates below 12, enter free. Oktoberfest Kampala is proudly brought to you by My Food Network, FlexiPay, Rancher's Finest, Brussels Airlines, Subantu, the Uganda German Cultural Society, Pepsi, Uvotam, Sanyuka TV, The Villa, and Now Special.
The passion you've been waiting for! Eunice Junior Santamu! It's our league, our football, our boys, our style. Start Times UPL new season. Go for it! What a finish from Fukume! The Ugandan flair, Brazilian samba, Portuguese magic, the night football craze. More TV games live on Senyuka Prime and Fufa TV only on Star Times. The Star Times UPL. Our league, go for it.
You're still watching the Frontline on NBS TV. And Hamza is watching us and says, I am so disturbed by Tavaro's reasoning today. He is like saying vulgar language is okay. This is Hamza, who's watching us.
And unfortunately, it's not everybody's expertise.
Misai Ritembo Kawugo is watching us and says, thanks for the show. Honorable Kivumbi should engage with his members to have a trademark like he is known for budgeting issues. Well, on the other side, I stand with Dr. Matembe, and for sure, what affects a Ugandan woman should not be treated with colors. We should use the size of parliament to also produce a lot for the country. Otherwise, this parliament has potential that needs to be tapped. That's Misairi Tembo Kahugo. Davis from Humbo Chalgonza is watching us and says, I agree that Honorable MP Zake Francis Butebi's behavior was irregular and shouldn't have abused a colleague, Member of Parliament of Uganda. But that was outside Parliament. MPs have immunity on the floor of Parliament. They don't have it outside Parliament. If Honorable Zake injured anyone in the constituency, that's personal, and the only logical path is court, if you can't ignore. But there was a ruling, someone sent me a message and said the recent ruling, actually, regarding Honorable Zake, said that, let me just dig it up, and says, it says that Zake versus Parliament, court ruled that outside conduct of a member of Parliament can be subjected to Parliament Code of Conduct. Yes. So I hope that answers you, Mr. Davis Rwamhumbu.
Impeachment of the character of a fellow member. It's
Let
not an insult necessarily.
Let me have Honorable Bahati, you are itching to come in and make some comments. Please.
Yes, I just wanted to make 3 points regarding the issues which have been raised by Chivumbi.
That you have refused to listen to the Chivumbis when they have demanded that you produce reports or statements regarding members of the National Unity Platform that have either been disappeared, been tortured, or detained.
Yeah, today, the Deputy Speaker who presided over the House actually gave us a summary of what Parliament has been considering regarding the human rights issues. And we debated the report of the human rights in October 2022. There were also issues, the statement made by the Minister of Justice in February 2022. The list is so long. Honorable Nabagabe raised issues of human rights in July 2023. In July 2023, again, the leader of opposition raised issues of human rights, including those rights, and we debated them. In September 2022, we also discussed issues of human rights. In October 2023, we discussed issues of human rights. Today in the House, we are discussing issues of human rights. Now, the second point I wanted to make is that not all issues of political parties are going to be resolved in Parliament. I think we need a space, and that's why the Constitution, for example, that's why the Constitution put up a framework called the consultative. The consultative.
But Honorable Bahati, sorry to cut in there. What the members of the opposition have been demanding is that the sector ministers responsible account to Parliament.
No, they raised these issues, and the minister came and made a statement to the House. Today, the same issues, and by the way, I must state that here, I don't support abuse of human rights. I don't support it. I don't support any abuse of human rights because I'm a human being. And Honorable Chivumbi knows, and everybody knows. But we must also...
Would you also defend the defenders of human rights?
The defenders of?
Defenders of human rights.
I don't support abuse of human rights, and I defend those who defend human rights in a proper and honest way. And I'm going to make a point on that. Now, the leader of opposition brought a list, and what government was asking, if you say Charles Tabalo, okay, was abducted.
God forbid.
How was abducted? Please inform the minister, Charles Tabalo of Village A in Kabarole was abducted and is the one I'm looking for. But if you come to the House and say, Maria Sechitoleko was abducted, Chivumbi William was abducted, where will the minister start from? And we said, give us more details on what we should do.
I'd like to make a quick response. There is a law, the Security Organizations Act, that was passed in 1987, regulating the activities of security organizations and the manner in which they should conduct their arrests. It can only be done through the police. Now, where it's done outside the police, it becomes illegal and unlawful. So,
yeah, but you see, about all these issues have been brought to government, and the government has investigated these matters. The Human Rights Commission
and your colleagues on the other side of the House are not yet satisfied.
The Human Rights Commission has investigated this, and there is a report before Parliament for debate. So today, what came on the floor of the House? The leader of opposition made a statement and raised these issues. The Minister for Internal Affairs said, gentlemen, we responded to these issues. There is nothing more that we are going to respond to. The Speaker, who was presiding over, the Deputy Speaker, insisted. He said, Minister, you must bring a report in one walk out. Now I want Chivumbi to be really honest. I know you are not in government, but you admire to be in government.
He's fighting to be in government.
If you are a sitting government and hear somebody mobilizing that I want 1 million people to receive me at the airport, and march to State House, what would you do?
Hold on a moment before you respond.
What will you do?
I need to
especially for those of us ordinary citizens going about with our own business. We are not politicians.
Let's have Honorable Matembe step in and then Mwanga Chivumbi will come in.
There is need really for honesty.
You made your point. You made your point, Honorable Minister. Yes.
I want to come in and remind the Honorable Minister. I want to invite him to look at everybody as a Ugandan.
Yes, I do.
And to know that people in opposition as much of Ugandans as people in government. And their rights of these, I'm talking about politicians, political parties and that kind of thing. They are entitled to organize rallies. They are supposed to go and open their offices, open branches and all that kind of thing. But we've been seeing it whenever anybody who is not NRM and is on opposition, they cannot enjoy these rights. I'm beginning with that. We are Ugandans, we see, and we wonder, but why should it, and other people Ugandans? Now, I don't support any wrong, as I had already said here. This whole idea of the Nup people organizing in whatever millions to go to the airport to meet Kyagulanyi, that is wrong. I look at a head of the party, a president of the party. Yes, he's a big person for their party. Now, when they've gone out of the country, and they are coming back.
To be received.
There should be a delegation from their office, like people go and receive president at the state. No, I'm just saying.
And accompanied home to safety.
Let me finish my point. How I looked at it. I don't want this horror nonsense of mobilizing people to go to do what? To do what? We Ugandans, we are here. What does it matter if the president let those who are supposed to receive him? If it is the president of political party, there are people, delegation which should go and receive him, and they go. Whether they are going home, they go home. Whether they are going to the office talk, they should go to the office and talk. Now, since they had raised this issue of saying that they want to destabilize us, which was wrong, he was giving you the details of what should have been done. But for me, putting those details aside, if the government wanted to intervene and say, no, this is not right, to me, they should have gone to the airport. The security people, now, but Kyagulanyi should have been allowed, as he's also an important person, leader of a party, opposition in this country. Yes, and opposition in the parliament. They should have allowed him to come in through the VIP and come in like any other the VIP person, and his delegation would have received him, and his car is there, and the security people would have come and said yes.
And his immigration papers handled?
Yes, yes. He's seated as VIP and they handled the papers. And then he would come, the police would have told him, we don't want this chaos which could take place. And so we are accompanying you to where you are going. So where do you want to go? Are you going home or you are going to your office? Yes, that is now me what I'm saying, should be right. Then they can let him go into his vehicle. They can put a lead car
and an escort car.
And an escort car, like I see all these ministers with 20 cars and that kind of thing. And then he should also have obeyed like any good citizen, and they drive him home or drive him to his office. But this is not what was done. I mean, I was watching on TV, and one thing that disturbs me, you minister, you are now a minister doing your work. Why shouldn't media do their work? Why shouldn't media, these people who come to get the news, to give Ugandans news of what is going on, why should be beaten the way they were beaten? They were, you know, they dehumanize. I see these men, they're about to even pull off their whatever, their private parts. Yeah, they almost pulling it out. I saw this holding this cowboy bambi like this, like I said, Vanange.
Okay.
We people who were here before
let me take a message as we cross.
We
so
got
as
so
we continue.
tired. Now why are you silencing me? So I'm
we are continuing the discussion.
I'm totally condemning the way things are done, and I hope we shall even go to on independence when they followed and arrested everybody there, and even in his house, by the way, because me, my friend, my sister, is a member of Chagura. When I saw these things that were happening, I rang her. Are you safe? Are you in Mbarara or you are here in Kapa? We are here at the house. They are beating us. They are closing us. It is raining. We can't even enter the house. They were torturing them.
Okay.
Why should they be tortured? You, Honorable Minister, is that right? The way you handle your colleagues?
We had a message from Captain Mike Mukula, who said, political maturity and decency is a core ingredient in any successful democracy. Political decorum is the epitome of any parliamentary system. Drama and chaos in parliament is a reflection of the actors who have chosen to suffocate decent debates and the application of democratic logic. I appeal to our members of parliament to harvest the ingredients of decency and decorum and demonstrate sobriety, patriotism, and nationalism, and grow more democratic systems. Uganda deserves better. We're continuing this discussion.
Honorable Mukula ought to watch South African Parliament
on the
regularly.
app.